Hey guys, welcome back to the Gears and Tool channel, and today we are reviewing the Mini Super Freek. And if you've been watching my channel, a couple weeks ago I did a review on the full-size Super Freek, which you can find a link in the description below. But you know, this full-size Super Freek really reminded me of the old Griptilian that I used to have from Benchmade. And I still have a mini Griptilian, which I use quite a bit, as you can see, you know, from the wear on the pocket clip and stuff. This is a really nice sized knife that I find myself kind of gravitating toward frequently. So I decided, you know, I really like the Super Freek. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up this Mini Super Freek, and I'm really glad I did. And we're gonna kind of go over the reasons why in this review. So for this review, we're gonna go ahead and review the size and weight of this Mini Super Freek compared to the Freek, the blade materials and the size and kind of characteristics of the blade. And then we'll go into the good, the bad, the ugly on why this might be the right knife for you and why it might be a pass. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So for the Mini Super Freek, we're right at 4 inches long when closed, which is a pretty good size compared to the Freek, which is 4.85 inches long when closed. So big difference there. When open, the Mini Super Freek is just a smidgen over 7 inches, where the Super Freek is right at 8.3 inches. So pretty big difference there. So you can definitely see where the Mini name comes from. But not to say that the Mini Super Freek is a small knife by any means. It's a great size for an EDC knife. The Super Freek is just a big knife. The knives are different thicknesses as well. The Mini is 0.55 inches thick without the pocket clip, where the Super Freek is 0.62 inches thick. So the Mini is just a little bit smaller all around, which is what we would expect from a Mini version of the knife. Another big difference between the knives is their weight. The Mini Freek comes in at 2.5 ounces, where the larger Super Freek comes in at 4.2 ounces. So all around, great EDC size and weight for the Mini Freek. So this review is about the Mini Super Freek, so let's go ahead and get the Super Freek off the table and compare this Mini Freek to a couple of the other minis that Benchmade makes, such as the Mini Bugout, which I reviewed a couple weeks ago. I'll put a link in the description below for you. And the Mini Griptilian, which in a lot of ways I think the Mini Super Freek will be replacing. Very similar size and weight overall, just kind of an updated design, if you will. So here's kind of a side-by-side for you. On the very top here, we have a Mini Griptilian. On the bottom, we have a Mini Bugout. And the Super Freek's just a little bit longer than both of those options. So a really good EDC size. Like I said, it doesn't really feel like a mini knife. It's just that the Freek is such a large knife that the mini knife actually turns out to be a pretty nice EDC size. In my hand, which I wear a size large glove, I would kind of consider myself medium hands for men. You can see it's pretty easy to get all 4 fingers wrapped around, and the knife still pokes out of the end of my hand just a little bit. Not exactly a mini knife, it just looks like a mini knife when you compare it to the full-size Freek. Okay, now that we've covered the size and weight, let's go ahead and take a look at the blade. And first of all, the blade just flies right out. It's super smooth, doesn't feel gritty or anything, and it's just, you know, super easy with one thumb, just quick deployment. It falls closed nice and easy. A very nice smooth action on this Benchmade. I mean, it's really what a Benchmade should be, but at this price point, you really expect it to be perfect. So great knife deployment, super happy with that. We have an S90V stainless steel stonewash blade coming right in at 3 inches long with a cutting length of about 2.85 inches. So a really nice side EDC blade. Again, right at 3-inch mark, guys. So if you live in an area that has the 3-inch knife laws, it should qualify. It's going to be pretty close, but I think most reasonable people would call this a you know, 3-inch or a 3-inch and under size blade. So very premium steel on the knife blade here. The S90V is going to be a little bit more capable in edge retention compared to the S30V that the base Freek has, but you do pay for it, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But it is nice to see on a knife of this price point that we really went all out with the S90V stainless steel. It's going to have good corrosion resistance and good edge retention. But you do pay for it, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. The base Mini Freek has S30V steel, which is actually a really capable steel in itself. So I'll kind of leave the discussion for how much better S90V steel is compared to S30V steel to you steel snobs down in the comments below. I've had really good luck with the S30V steels over the years, so no complaints here getting something that's got a little bit better edge retention on a more premium knife. Another thing I really like about this knife blade is it has a nice high flat grind on it. Unlike the Mini Griptilians, which the flat grind kind of goes halfway up the depth of the knife. I think that's one of the reasons why the Spyderco knives are so popular. They have a high flat grind all the way to the spine of the knife, which really makes for a slicey knife blade. So Benchmade's kind of finally figured it out that people like high flat grinds, And compared to the Mini Griptilian, which I kind of see this knife as being a replacement for, they've done a really good job bringing that flat grind much higher on the belly of the knife. So good job there, Benchmade. I really like to see this blade profile on your newer knife designs. They've kind of gone the same direction on the Bugout. You can see on this knife as well, again, they've gone with a nice high flat grind. So Benchmade's starting to figure out that the high flat grinds really provide a nice slicing knife, and I'm not complaining. It's nice to see that Benchmade's continuing to iterate their designs and improve where they can. And let's not forget the nice bright red thumb stud, which matches the red barrel spacers. I really like how the thumb stud kind of ties together with the back of the knife. So big win on the knife blade. Super happy with the Mini Super Freek. It's not too small, it's not too big, it's just right. All right, it's time to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. First off, I kind of hinted before, I really like the size of this knife. It's not too big, not too small. It's kind of the perfect size for an EDC knife. It fills the hand nicely and provides a nice 3-inch long slicing knife blade. So big win in my book for the size category. Just because it says mini doesn't mean it's mini in capability. The S90V blade steel is going to be pretty hard to beat unless you go with something crazy expensive. And let's talk about these carbon fiber handle scales. Benchmade always does a really good job on carbon fiber. There's no hot spots when you're holding it for aggressive use. It looks really sharp. It's kind of got the nice two-tone look and just has a nice profile. It kind of reminds me of the Benchmade 940, kind of with the kind of recessions on the edge, the nice rounded corners. It's a little bit thicker in my opinion, I think, than the Benchmade 940, but it's kind of got that similar styling that's really made that knife popular. So the carbon fiber scales are very well done on this knife. One thing to note about the carbon fiber scales is they do use the cartridge liner in there, similar to the Bugout. Unlike the Benchmade Griptilian, which uses a full liner on the inside of the handles, but they're trying to save a little bit of weight, and with carbon fiber, it's super stiff. You know, squeezing that, you can't flex that at all. Unlike some of Benchmade's ultra lightweight knives like the Bugout. And of course, like most new Benchmades, we have the mounting holes for the pocket clip on both sides of the knife. So if you're a left-handed user, you're going to take this pocket clip, move it to the other side, and with the Axis lock, it's really a universal knife. So a good pro. I know Benchmade does that with most of their knives because they got it figured out. I forgot to mention when we were talking about the blade steel, it has jimping on the back of the handle, but it also has some jimping up onto the very back side of the blade right behind the thumb stud, which I really like. When you're doing some aggressive cutting, you want to get your thumb up on the back of the knife blade a little bit. This is something that not all Benchmade knives have. The Bugout, for example, has no jimping on the back of the knife blade. So I'm glad to see it on the Mini Freek, because that is a feature I really do like on most of my knives. And this is one of the smoothest Benchmades I've operated in quite a while right out of the box. I haven't done anything to this. I haven't lubed it. I haven't taken it apart or anything. Flies right out with no effort, and it closes right up with almost no effort. Benchmade's really kind of got the decant pressure and location figured out on this knife. You just push straight up and it opens, and you kind of see here as I push it back down, there's a point where it just snaps shut. It's kind of got a point of no return, which really makes this blade launch and close easily. So you've been patiently listening to me rave about this knife. Let's talk about the bad, or as your boss might like to say in your annual review, opportunities for improvement. First is the pocket clip. It's really far down on the knife. I mean, if you're going to pocket carry it, that's about as much of the handle that's going to be sticking out. So not exactly a low profile knife in the pocket. And a lot of it has to do with this lanyard hole. Why do we have a lanyard hole on the very end of the knife? Does anyone even use a lanyard anymore? If you look at other knives like the Benchmade Bugout, they still manage to keep a lanyard hole, but they've moved the pocket clip all the way to the butt of the knife, and they put a deep carry pocket clip on there to make sure that it's as low profile as possible when in your pocket. I think for this knife, I know that the back of the handle slopes down a little bit more, but you could have put a deep carry pocket clip on this at a minimum. And what I would actually like to see Benchmade do is make a deep carry pocket clip that goes all the way to the end, that has a hole kind of at the head of the pocket clip that would pass through to the lanyard hole. So you would be getting the best of both worlds. You'd have a deep carry pocket clip, but you'd have a pass-through hole for the lanyard if that's your thing. At this price point, there's really no excuse for not shipping a couple pocket clips with the knife. It costs them almost nothing and gives the user the flexibility to set up the knife the way they want to. And finally, we need to talk about the ugly. And you guys have probably guessed by now, it's the price. This is a beautiful knife, S90V stainless steel blade, carbon fiber handles, great execution, love the bright red, but at $263, I think it's too much. It feels kind of like a money grab. it's because they can, not because that's what it's actually worth. In my opinion, I'd like to see this knife around $160, $180. That's probably lower than what Benchmade would be willing to sell something like this for. So $210 tops. $263, just, you know, I've seen it for $310 in some places. It's just too much, guys. It's a beautiful knife, great form factor, love the carbon fiber, like the high quality premium steel, but you know, honestly, I would have been willing to take this knife in S90V steel and hit that $210 price point. I get that we have premium materials and stuff on here, but $263 is just too much. So what's my final takeaway? Well, this is an awesome knife, guys. Great EDC knife. I don't think I'd call this a heavy user or abused knife, but for an EDC roll knife where you use it every day, cutting open boxes, maybe some harder used tasks once in a while. Awesome knife, looks sweet with the carbon fiber. Love the S90V steel, even if it costs an arm and a leg. The bright red thumb stud and back spacers. The whole thing is just beautifully executed. It's gonna be a great knife. I just think it's a little expensive. Come on, Benchmade. $180. That's what you need to be selling these for. $210 tops. But it is a nice knife. Thanks for watching today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button below. It helps the channel out a lot. If you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll first be notified when I release new reviews just like this one. Also, I just launched my Amazon page, so if you guys want to know how I do all my YouTube filming and what my setup is, I've created an ideas list over there for you. Check it out in the description below. I also have some lists showing my top 5 picks for EDC blades and multi-tools, so check it out. Cheers!